Hi, this is Paul Palmer, and today I'm back again talking to Natasha Todorovic-Cowan. Hi, Natasha.
Hi, Paul. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Natasha. How are you today?
I am awesome. Hey, check it out. I love that question. Who wants change? And then the follow-up question, who wants to change? It's like you're asking, who wants someone else to change? Well, we all want everybody else to change, but then it's like, well, me? You want me to change? Heck no. It's a very enlightened, very courageous person who stands up, puts their hand up and says, I'm taking responsibility to be the one who changes in this relationship, on this job, and to change me.
Yeah, I find often when I'm looking at a change control in the pharmaceutical industry, you think, well, we all want this change, and then you come to the box on the form that says change owner, and nobody wants to accept it. And sometimes one of the hardest things when you're actually going into change control as part of your system, it's identifying who's going to accept that change. Now, some companies have a slightly different approach to it. They have a certain person that owns the change, but all they're responsible for is tracking everybody else's actions. So it's usually somebody at the management level, and they take responsibility because they've got and they define it within their SOP, right? This person is the one who's the change because it's their department. They're the change owner. But they get through the resistance to owning the change because they don't do the job. They don't do the work, the activities that relate to the change management. But it brings up an interesting thought, an interesting concern. Why do people, as it says in the image, everybody wants the change, but when it comes to actually making the change, nobody wants to do it. Why is that?
Oh, look, the stats are very bleak. 70% of organizational change efforts fail. If you do M&A, 67 to 87% of mergers and acquisitions fail. That's one of the biggest changes an organization can go through. And when it comes to individual change, 90% of us can't rise to the kind of change that we want to make. So we have to ask ourselves some really serious questions around what are our habits and what's blocking us. And if you're a change owner and you've already been through some kind of a change that's failed, you know how treacherous that is. You become other people's enemy. You put your head on the chopping block if it fails. And the likelihood that it's going to fail is pretty high. So, of course, nobody wants to do it when they are punished for it going badly.
So
So,
is that
we
the key? Is that the key? Not to have the punishment if it doesn't work?
well, I think that's really what we do environmentally, the messages that we send, that leadership sends, that the organization sends are really critical. But we also need to support people who are trying to make change happen because inertia is going to win, status quo is going to win, habit is going to win. So any change is an act of courage.
So so recently I went through an acquisition. I was in the acquiring company, not the acquired. And the people wanting to make the change on both sides failed to integrate, and they ended up losing the senior management on both teams and bringing in new management to lead a new company in essence. I think the CEO is still there, but all the senior management, both sides, maybe one, maybe two are still engaged, but the rest of them, over a period of, I would say, between a year and 2 years, they all either left of their own accord because the new company didn't suit the way it used to be, didn't suit their behavior, I suppose.
Yeah, that's typically people blame it on culture. Culture relates to the relationships that people have with one another. And with most change, with most M&A, what humans work on are the things that they can change, the manageable pieces. The stuff that they can't manage are the invisible human factors. And it's those human factors every time that will unravel even the best planned change.
Invisible factors. I like that one. I think I'm going to tag that one in the in the comments to this. I like the concept. So really we're talking about identifying by some means what are the factors that are hindering the change, and I suppose preempting them and addressing them up front. Because I see in most cases that when you have a significant change, if people don't come along with the change, if they are forced to do it, so say you introduce an electronic quality management system, the people that are happy using the paper-based system are resistant to the change in the first place. Because they're resistant to the change, they underperform because they don't engage with the implementation. Because they don't engage with the implementation, then they continue to resist because they don't understand what's happening and what the benefits are. And when you see the benefits of an electronic system over a manual system, well, from a financial perspective, from a leadership perspective, it's indisputable that it improves the performance of the pharmaceutical company. Every company I've seen that's made the change has been more successful, has been more efficient in their systems and processes, but they're measuring it based on transactions. So
Yeah.
the transactions are all much improved. The lead times are reduced. The resolution of problems is accelerated. So I had one company that went from a 3-year backlog down to 3 months over a period of a year because they went electronic. I had another company who had, that was just in complaints, another company who had a similar backlog in complaints, deviations, root cause analysis, change controls. They're all in backlog, but by bringing them electronic, they become visible and reportable. And when they're visible and reportable, the people making the decisions know what's happening. They can see, yes, you've got a backlog, and they can put the resources behind it. They can assign the finances, the budget, to actually resolve the problem and fix the problem. But without that change in the first place, which people are resisting, including the financiers, the CFO or whoever, then you can't get there.
Exactly.
So it's really important to understand why people are resisting that change.
And who they are.
Yeah.
Who they are fundamentally in relationship, not only to one another, to the organization, but also to the role.
So how do you identify them?
We have a number of assessments. And the way most people tackle change is the equivalent of having a box of diverse different pills from different manufacturers. They stick their hand in, they grab something and they go, we're going to change. Take this. Right? Well, that's not how it works. You measure, you figure out the problem, you figure out the right medicine, right? Well, we don't do that with change.
Cool. Well, thank you, Natasha. That's been interesting. I think we're going to have to talk about your medicines, your box of tricks next. Talk to you soon. It's Paul Palmer and
Natasha Todorovic Cowan signing out.
thank you.